All right, if you're getting ready for a tech interview that involves any kind of web automation, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to build a super solid foundation of Selenium concepts that will help you nail those questions. Let's get right into it.
You know, when you really think about it, almost every Selenium question comes back to this one simple challenge. How do you get a piece of code to control a web browser, to click and type and navigate just like a real person would? That's the core problem Selenium was built to solve, and that's our starting point today.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the 30,000-foot view, then zoom right into the nitty-gritty of how you actually control a web page. After that, we'll tackle the tricky stuff, all the dynamic things modern websites throw at you, and we'll wrap up with the techniques that really show you're thinking like a pro. Okay, first things first. Before we write a single line of code, let's get a really clear picture of what Selenium actually is and the tools it gives us. Seriously, getting this foundation right makes everything else just click into place.
So what is Selenium? The simple answer is it's a powerful open-source toolkit for browser automation. The two big keywords to remember here are open source, which means it's free and supported by a huge community, and cross-browser, which is awesome because it means the code you write for Chrome can also run on Firefox, Edge, you name it, without a bunch of changes.
Right, so Selenium isn't just one single thing. It's more like a suite of tools. You've got the Selenium IDE, which is perfect for getting started. You can literally just hit record, click around a site, and it writes a basic script for you. But the real powerhouse, the core of it all, is WebDriver. This is where you write code in languages like Java or Python to create really smart, robust automation. And then, when you need to scale up, Selenium Grid lets you take all those tests and run them at the same time across a whole bunch of different machines. Okay, let's get practical. How do we actually tell the browser what to click, what to type into, and where to go? Well, it's a two-step process. You first have to find the thing on the page, and then you give it a command. To interact with anything on a web page, a button, a search bar, a link, you need its address. And that's exactly what locators are. Think of them as unique addresses for every single element. Using an element's ID is usually your best bet. It's the most stable. But you absolutely need to know all of these, because in the real world, you'll run into all sorts of situations and need the right tool for the job.
Now, this is a really common interview question, and the difference is subtle but super important. You use find element when you expect to find one and only one element. If that element isn't there, your script throws an error and stops, which is usually what you want. Find elements, on the other hand, is used when you might get a bunch of things back, like all the items in a list. And here's the key. If it doesn't find anything, it doesn't fail. It just returns an empty list.
So what's the absolute first thing you do in pretty much any automation script? You've got to open the browser. It's super straightforward. You create a new instance of a browser driver, in this case, a new Chrome driver, and then you just use the .get method to tell that browser what website to open.
You might see two different ways to open a URL, and it's important to know they aren't the same. Driver.get is your go-to, your bread and butter. It's patient, it will wait for the page to completely load before your script moves on. Driver.navigate.to is a bit different. It's part of a whole family of navigation commands that let you go back, forward, and refresh, just like your browser buttons. It's more flexible, but it doesn't wait for the page load in the same way.
All right, we've got the basics down. But let's be honest, modern websites are messy. They've got pop-ups appearing out of nowhere, links that open new windows, and elements that take forever to show up. This next part is all about handling that chaos like a pro.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Those simple little browser alerts that just pop up and stop everything. If your automation script doesn't know how to handle them, it's just going to sit there, completely stuck. So what do?
The magic word here is switch to. This is such a cool concept. With this one line of code, you're basically telling your driver, hey, forget the main web page for a second. I need you to shift your focus over to that little alert box that just appeared. It gives you direct control.
And once you've switched to that alert, you've got four main things you can do. You can .accept it, which is basically clicking the OK button. You can .dismiss it, which is like hitting cancel. You can use .getText to read the message inside it, which is great for making sure the right alert popped up. And if it's a prompt asking for you to type something, you can use .sendKeys to type right into it.
Here's another classic real-world problem. Your script clicks a link, and poof, a brand new browser window or tab opens up. The problem is your driver's focus is still on that original window. It's completely blind to the new one. So how do you tell it to switch its attention?
The way this works is that Selenium gives every single window a unique ID, which it calls a handle. So the pattern is pretty simple. First, you grab the handle of the window you're currently in, the parent window. Then you ask for the handles of all the open windows. From there, you can just loop through them and find the one that isn't your original parent, And then you can switch your driver's focus over to that new window.
Okay, listen up, because if you get one thing from this section, this is it. Knowing how to wait properly is probably the single most important skill for writing tests that don't randomly fail. An implicit wait is a big general setting. You set it one time and you're telling the driver, hey, for the rest of this session, if you can't find any element, just wait up to, say, 10 seconds before you give up. An explicit wait is the opposite. It's a scalpel. It's incredibly precise. You use it to tell your script to wait for one specific condition to be true, like wait right here until this exact button becomes clickable.
We're at our final section, and this is where we really level up. You see, it's one thing to get a script to work once on your machine. It's a completely different skill to write code that is clean, reusable, and easy for a whole team to work with for years to come.
Just imagine this for a second. Your company has 100 automated tests, and they all have to log into the application. One day, a developer changes the ID of the login button. Are you really going to go and update 100 different test files? No way! That's a nightmare. This is the exact problem that good design patterns are meant to solve.
And the most famous, most popular design pattern in the Selenium world is the Page Object Model, or POM. The idea behind it is actually beautiful in its simplicity. For each page in your web application, the login page, the home page, the profile page, you create a separate class file. And that class file has one job, to hold all the locators and all the possible actions for that page, and that page alone.
So why do interviewers love asking about POM? Because it gives you these 3 huge wins. First, your test code becomes way more readable. It looks like loginpage.enter username instead of a bunch of technical locator code. Second, it makes your code reusable. You can use that same login page object in dozens of tests. And the big one, maintainability. When that login button's ID changes, you don't edit 100 tests. You go to one file, the loginpage.java file, change it in one place, and boom, every single test is fixed instantly.
And there you have it. We've gone from the big picture of what Selenium is, to finding and commanding elements, to handling all the tricky dynamic stuff, and finally, to how to structure your code like a professional. These are truly the essential building blocks for any Selenium interview.
You know, if you take just one thing away today, let it be this. Don't just memorize the commands. Try to understand why you would choose an explicit wait over an implicit one in a certain situation, or why the page object model is so powerful. That deeper understanding of the why behind the how is what really makes a candidate stand out.
You've now got a really solid framework for thinking about web automation and for answering those interview questions with real confidence. But the absolute best way to make this stuff stick is to actually use it. So, the only question left is, what are you going to automate first?